Mr. Wizard!
Oh, hi, Rita. Come on in.
Hi.
Hi. See what I'm doing here? When I push this little button, watch that line on the scope over there. Watch.
Yeah, more lines come. A lot of waves.
And then I get rid of them and make it go into a straight line again. Well, later on we're going to use this because today you and I are going to investigate the question, what do you hear?
What do I hear?
Yes, what do you hear? And I'm not talking about the fact that you're listening to my voice at the moment and that I'm communicating information to you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about specific frequencies and specific loudness. Just exactly what do you hear in terms of frequency and in loudness in terms of the sounds that hit your ear. If you had to guess, which is your ear better at? Determining frequency, you know, or pitch, or variations in loudness, which would you say?
I think loudness. I could tell if something's very loud, you know, hurts
And very
your ears,
soft,
or
but the
very
difference between two frequencies, you think you can't do it as well?
I don't know. I'd say loudness, I
Well,
guess.
today we're going to find out, see whether that guess is right. You'd say that the ear can determine the difference between loudness better than it can frequency. All right, well, let's try it. In order to do that, I have set up what looks like a very complicated thing here, but it's not really. These doorbells here. Well, first of all, let's identify what frequency is, and that's what I was playing with here. See, when I push this button and now move this dial, you see what happens on the scope over there?
You have 3, 4, more of those lines.
Yes, more of those lines. So the higher the frequency, or the higher the pitch, the more lines we're going to have on the oscilloscope over there. In fact, I'll switch it over to the next... now watch.
Oh, so the higher it goes, the more we have of those? Yeah.
See? So now we can tell the number of frequencies by looking at the scope. We can also tell by looking at this counter I have down here.
What does it count?
Well, it counts the number of frequencies. I'll put this up in the middle here someplace. Now, tell me, can you tell me how many vibrations that is per second? Listen.
How many vibrations it is? Oh, say about 1,000?
You're just guessing?
I don't know.
No,
Vibrations,
I
couldn't
can't.
tell.
But there are some people who can hear that note and say it's about so many cycles per second. But I can't do it, and you
I
can't.
can't do
But
it.
this machine, this equipment over here can. If I hold that button, see these numbers down here? Well, they will tell us how many cycles it is. Just add them up. Watch. It counts them every second. You see that? 628, 628. 629, 629. So it's probably
Which one is
6. Well, if it happens to fall halfway in between, sometimes it'll count 28 and sometimes it'll count 29.
Oh, so it's in between the two?
So it's in between the two. So let us now see if we can actually run a series of tests and see how close you can determine. Certainly you can't determine a frequency by just not having anything to match it to.
No, I just can't hear it.
But let me set up one. Let's set up a low one. See, this button on this side is connected to this signal generator. This generates these frequencies. So listen to this one. Now that's fairly low. Now all I want you to do is be able to push this one and now match it by pushing the other one.
Can I get different sounds on that one too?
Yeah, so all you do is move this dial. Look, see?
Oh, I see. So I have to match the two sounds?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So you first push this and say, all right, now I have to, with my ear, decide where I'm going to put this dial, and it'll change. So you go ahead and try it once.
No. A little too high. Whoops. I think that's it. No.
Not quite.
I think that's it.
Okay, well now we can find out. You can hear it pretty well with your ear, but if we push the first button over here on this row of lights, we will get the exact number of frequencies that I set up for you first. So let's read what it is.
546, 262.
261, 262. Okay, now when I push this other button, it'll count the number of frequencies that you finally chose, and it should be pretty close to 261.
261,
Let's see what it is.
Let's give it a chance. 263.
263. We're only one cycle off.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yes, you see,
One
your
cycle.
ear is very, very good. Well, at least in the low frequencies, 200. Now I'll move this one up to, a couple of thousand. Let's see what it... How about that?
It's pretty high.
Pretty high. Okay, now see if you can match the other one. Let me see how it is in terms of loudness.
All right.
Okay, now here's the one to match, and there is...
No, it's too high.
Too low, right? Still too low.
Let me go all the way high. No. I think that's it.
Yeah, okay. Now you know what to do? Push this one first and read what the frequencies are. 1011. 1011.
Should I try the other one?
Now try the other one, and it should be 1011 also.
1001?
1001.
So you seem closer than that.
Well,
Yeah.
now play one after the other and see if you can hear that which one. Can you hear that one is slightly lower than the other? Yours was slightly low.
Yeah, now I can. Now that I'm waiting
Yes,
for
but
it.
you must remember that in the first case you were working with only 290 cycles per second, and now you're up at about 1,000. So a slight variation there is going to be much more quickly noticed. It's one cycle in 1,000 as compared to one cycle in 200.
I mean, as you get higher, you
Well,
have
you know,
different
as you
frequencies?
get higher, you have more frequencies to work with, so that you might not be able to make such fine discriminations. And if you go to 2,000, it would be even more difficult, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
But
so
your ear is
little
quite
help
good.
in that.
Your ear is very good indeed. Why did I have you push first one and then the other, do you know?
Well, take one sound and then see if
Yes.
it matches.
Well, what'll happen if you put... the reason I didn't want you to push both of them at the same time is watch what happens. We were 10 cycles out now.
Yes.
All right, listen. You hear that... I'll put it a little closer to... You hear that? Let me get to a little lower frequency. Now, you see what's happening to the oscilloscope up there? See how it's going up and down?
Yeah, the same bumps, but they're just going up and down.
Now, why is that?
Well, you just have the same note, right? In the-
Well, almost, not quite.
Almost?
You can see if you had one cycle coming along like this, and another cycle that's coming along with it at the same time, but if when they are exactly together at the height, the high peak is going to go higher, isn't it? If you add them together,
Oh, 1 and 2.
1 and 2,
Oh.
you know, 1 and 1 would equal 2.
Yeah.
But now what happens when one of them is going the other way?
It's almost like opposites.
That's right.
One is like this.
Right. One is going up and the other is going down. They would subtract each other,
So you have nothing.
so that you would have nothing or very little. So that this is what is known as beats. You hear it goes as the two of them come together and go apart, come together and go
Oh,
apart.
the change is a beat.
And yes, listen. You hear that? Yes. And as I vary this one, listen. Now you barely hear them, right? And look at the oscilloscope.
No bumps.
They should be exactly the same frequency.
That was exactly right.
Let's count it once.
183. All right, 475.
476. 476. Now when I push the other one, according to what our ear said, it should be 476 exactly too. Let's try it.
476. Here it is.
476.
That proves it.
Yes,
All
it
right.
proves it. But your ear is so sensitive that when you put the two notes together, you can hear those beats, and are as accurate as the electronic device.
Yeah.
Now what happens if they're? I'll try to get them. I'll move it out just a little bit.
I can hear the beats better.
What I'm trying to do is to get it so that we have a beat once a second. Every second it's one beat out. Difference. This means that what should be the if the first one was 276, and we're hearing one beat, there should be one difference in the cycle.
So it'd be 276 and 275.
Okay, there's 276. Let's see if I was able to get it close. There's 276 on the first one. Here's the second one. It should be one note off, one cycle off.
475, and the other was 476.
See it?
So it's one off.
475,
You
one
can just
off.
control it yourself. Huh?
And now when you put the two together, you should hear a beat, 1 a second. Listen. Hear it?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can put your beats as to the cycles.
And now as I change the beats, as I change the difference between the two, the beats should become quicker, shouldn't they? Listen.
Yes. The number of beats is the number that you're off.
Yes, the number of beats is the number you're off. Now I'm going back up again.
It's slowing down.
Yes, you can see how the scope bounces up and down? And if I can get it to be absolutely stand still.
Just stay still, huh? It'll be exactly right.
Almost, not quite. Anyway, scientists use this principle of beats in lots of different ways. Whenever they want to match two frequencies and get them exactly the same, they use this principle of beats, not only in sound, but in radio waves and all other kinds of waves, too.
Yeah.
Well, now, you were able to match frequency pretty well, aren't you?
Yes, I think I came pretty close.
All right, now how about loudness?
Well, I thought in the beginning that loudness would be the best.
Okay, well, now you know that in frequency they match, you're matching cycles per second.
Yes,
and the unit is 1 cycle. What is the unit in loudness, do you know?
No, I don't think so.
Well, come over here, I'll show you. Here's a meter. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why isn't it working? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The microphone is now hooked in and it's not working. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, on this meter, as I'm trying to get it to work, here's a meter that is figured in units. You see what it says here? 0, and then -1, -2, -3, -4, and so forth. Well, these are units of decibels.
Decibels?
Yes, called dB.
No,
And the engineers that work with equipment like this say, let us assume a standard volume, and that's 0 right there, see it? Standard volume.
Yes.
And then they have said, let us make the assumption that when we drop 3 of these, see that -3 there?
Yeah.
That will cut the volume in half.
Oh, every -3 is a half.
And every +3 would be doubling it.
Doubling it, yeah.
Yeah.
More and less.
Yeah. So when you talk into a meter like this, it should move up and down, and for some reason or other it's not working, and I don't know why. It's on. Yes, it's on. There we go. 1, 2. It helps if you turn up the volume control.
Oh.
Now let's see. See if we get it to peak at normal conversation. You see, it's maximum are going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about the 0.
Yeah, the higher you go louder, it goes
And
up.
if you just whisper, let's watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
13.
Oh, you see.
Yeah.
So that you can have some idea what the volume of the sound is by comparing it to a meter like this. All right, now I'll use this meter, and I'll take the microphone and put it over there by the speaker, and you're now going to take those 2 notes that you matched with frequency, but this time you're going to do it with volume, and we'll see how good you are. Okay?
Okay.
I'll put the microphone over here by the speaker. And let me see, I'll have to turn this around just a bit so I can make sure that the volume is not too great over here.
I can't beat though?
Well, you can just in just a minute.
Okay.
I'll turn this down a bit. Okay, there's 1. I'll turn this. I'll get them so that they're about the same. And how can you do that quickly? With beats, right?
Oh, you mean getting them the same? Oh, yeah.
Pretty close?
Yeah, just about 1 beat. Now they're
There.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I'll turn
Same
this one
now.
up just a little bit. Okay, now there's 1 volume. You want to hold it a minute? I'll adjust this volume over here. Okay. Now I'll turn this volume down over here, and now you have to match the 2 volumes now. There's the volume of that one. You have to push this one and turn that volume control until you match the 2 volumes exactly. And you'll see how close you come on the
Well,
meter.
it's not on now, right?
It's not on. You'll have to turn it up. That's right. Go ahead, try it.
that's it.
Okay, you think that's it?
About it.
Okay, now go over and look at the meter over there that you couldn't see. Here was the original volume.
It's about 80.
Okay, and here's the one that you matched.
Ew.
A little high.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay. Now how about a higher frequency? Let's go to a high one.
High one?
Yes. Hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we want to match it. Pretty close?
Yeah, I don't hear the beats.
Fairly close. Okay,
Yeah.
there's your first volume.
Mm-hmm.
You see now, you start over again and match it with the other one.
Yeah, that's too loud. That's too loud.
Too low?
Too high. I think that's it. Let me try
Okay.
once more. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, now go over and
That's
look.
hard.
It's hard, isn't it? And yet you thought this was going to be the easiest. Here's your first note.
About 50.
Okay, or -6, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There it's minus
Here's your
6.
second note.
Well, it's about -7.
Yes, -7. So it's a lot harder to match volume than you thought, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Now those were two identical frequencies. Now what'll happen if I give you a low frequency and you or a high frequency and you have to match it with the volume of a low frequency. Let's try that one. I'll
seems
set up
very hard.
I'll set up the high frequency here like this. See? And now I'll put a low frequency down here.
Now I have to match their loudness?
Yes. Start over. Here's the first one. Match the low with that.
Okay, I'll try. I can't hear it. How can you tell?
Well, you're supposed to match loudness. You said you were going to be good at it. Go ahead, try it.
It's too loud. No. Let me go down. Too low. That could be
That about it?
It's
All
hard
right.
with a different
It
tone.
certainly is. Now go over and look. Here is the high note. What does it read?
50 or -6.
-6. Okay, now here's the note, the low note that you said you thought matched about in volume. Watch.
Ooh.
What's the
It's
matter?
way off.
It's way off, yes.
Yeah.
How come? Did you match this with that?
I don't know. My ears aren't working right.
Well, no, they are. No, don't you worry. That your ears are working perfectly normal. Because when you try to match a high frequency, the high frequency, when it hits your ears, does feel stronger. After all, there are more vibrations per second hitting your ear.
Yes, there are.
And there's less absorption in the air. And when you have a low sound, it must be increased in volume in order to seem like it's the same volume. So you're perfectly normal.
Oh,
I just thought
that's nice to hear.
I thought I'd throw you a curve. Are you really normal? Do you know for sure that your hearing is normal?
Yes, we had a few tests at school. Each year we have tests, and
Well,
it came out okay.
didn't it look something like this?
Yeah, but a lot of dials.
Yes, well, so let me get this microphone cord out of the way here. Well, this is the machine that the person who tested your hearing used. And what did she do, or he, whoever it was?
It was a she.
A she?
Yeah, we put the earphones. in.
Earphones on, and these are earphones that each ear is separate. In other words,
Yes,
this
we
one
did
sound
one
going one going to the other, and you can control here which ear you're going to use. See? Okay, then what did she do?
Well, she put on a sound, and then when we hear it, we would raise our hand.
Okay, and you know what
We
she
didn't
did?
hear it,
If
we'd
you
get
didn't-
worried.
Yeah, well now, what she did, you see, is here's a dial that has the various frequencies. 125, 250, 500, you see, 750, 1,000, and so forth. So she could select each frequency and test your ear. Then over here is a volume control. She could put this at 0, and then as she turned this up, it got louder and louder and louder until you held up your hand, right? So in effect, she could check the ability of your ear to respond to all these frequencies at various loudness, at various levels. And what was it a hard test?
No, it was pretty easy.
Well, because your hearing was normal.
Oh, I
But
guess
you
so.
but you could see if she put it at 1,000, let's say, and ordinarily you'd recognize sounds at about 10 dB. But if she had to put it up to maybe 30 or 40 dB,
Your ear wouldn't be as
well,
bad?
she would know that at that particular frequency, maybe, you know, you don't hear things too well, and you'd have to have an examination and, a thorough test.
Yes.
What happens if you do put the earphones on and you don't hear too well?
Well, you better go get a hearing aid.
Yes, and one other way that they could do it is to take a thing like this.
I don't remember using that.
No, because your hearing was normal through, with sounds coming through the air to hitting your ear. But in case some people have problems where the air that vibrates hits their ear doesn't get into the nerve and actually stimulate the nerve, it's possible that they could put this on and test to see whether your nerve is all right by having the frequencies go through the bone.
You mean not through your ear?
Not through your ear
No?
itself, but through the bone behind your ear. And you've seen people who wear hearing aids, haven't they? It's connected back here?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the sound is going through the
way it
bone.
gets there.
That's right. So here is an instrument that can check out hearing very quickly, and of course this is what they use to check ears, and you are normal.
Yes.
Even in spite of the fact that you can't match a high and low
No, I
sound and loud.
can't. That's normal.
What about the frequencies that you hear in your everyday life? Run around over here. I have a bunch of them organized over here, and we've been investigating both frequency and loudness, right?
Yes.
Okay, well now here's a kind of chart. Let me turn this thing over. Here's a kind of chart in which I've listed frequency. See, starting at, it should goes way up to 20 and 30,000, and it goes down here all the way to 0
Oh, I see.
in 1,000 cycle steps. Now, in your everyday life, what kind of sounds do you ordinarily hear? What kind of frequencies are they?
What kind of frequency?
Yeah, how high?
Well, I don't know how high they go.
Like this, for instance. Here's a good.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty high.
See, they're very, very high sounds. Well, this is up in the area of 15, 16, 17,000.
That is high.
Yes. Maybe not all of it. Maybe it'll start at 8 or 9, but those jumbles. But very
Yeah,
high
they were
sounds like that basically are up, most people can hear up to around 10,000. Yeah, something like that. Then how about the middle frequencies? You and I, as we're talking, what kind of frequencies are involved with that?
Well, I guess in the middle. like
You see, we were up here before, and now when we're talking, you're actually way down in this area. The maximum is about 3,500 and down to about 50 or 60. And when you hear somebody on the telephone, you're going from, maybe 100 up to about 2,000.
Oh, that's kind of low.
Yes, that's kind of low, yes. And so there are other musical sounds that, of course, are all up in here. We're going to hear some of those later. And how about the low sounds? What are the lowest sounds that are around you in your everyday? Yeah. I'll turn on my record player because
My
I've got...
dog yawning?
No, that's way up, a couple of hundred at
high.
least.
Oh.
Here's a sound. See if you could recognize it, and see, maybe try to guess what frequency it is. Listen.
Okay.
That's a high one, not that one. Now listen.
Okay. That's low.
I put that on the oscilloscope and on the counter over there and tried to measure, and it was about 76 cycles per second.
Yes, it is
It's
low.
very, very low. So you see the range goes anywhere from down that low up to maybe 10,000 in your everyday life. How about frequency? Or, I mean, sorry, loudness. Notice the loudness here, I started up at 120. And when the sound is that loud, it's so loud that it hurts your ears. And then it goes down through various levels all the way down to 0. This is in dB. Remember I said 3
Yeah,
dB
you
means you
turned
double the sound?
Yeah.
What is about the lowest sound that you can hear if 0 is nothing?
Oh, about... No.
15 or 16. Listen to this. Can you hear what I'm saying?
Yes, just now.
You can. Well, that's about 15 dB over 0.
15?
Yes. So whisper
From
3
0
or
to
4
15,
feet.
you
Yes.
can't hear?
No,
Is
it's
it?
a very low. Rustling leaves and things like that are very low. How about our conversation here? What is that? As we're talking.
Well,
In other
it's
words,
about
we
15.
were way down in
That's
here
great.
someplace. Ordinary conversation runs up into about this area, like this.
16.
And now, do you know any jokes?
Oh, yes, I know a lot of jokes.
You do? Well, why don't you tell me a joke?
All right. What's the difference between an elephant and a matter baby?
What's the matter, baby? Oh, what's the matter, baby? Oh.
Nothing's the matter. I should always get such response.
It's a great joke.
It is kind of
Now, the reason I put that on is that when you go to an auditorium or a football game or
Yeah.
basketball game or something, and people are yelling and screaming and laughing, you're up in this area, 80, 90
High.
dB. Yeah, it's getting higher. And how about when you get way up here? What is the loudest sound that you might run into in everyday life? I've got one here. Let me
See
try
what it
it.
is.
Let's see if you can guess what it is.
Okay.
What was that?
Jet.
Yeah, it's a jet taking off. And if you're standing next to the airport or next to the runway and the jet takes off of your head, that's probably 115 dB, getting very close to loudness, you know, to what you
Very
can stand. And in fact, have you ever noticed at the airports the men are wearing, they look like headsets, but they're not. They're pads to keep that loud sound from hurting their ears. It gets too loud. Well, anyway, when you came in, I asked you, which could you determine best, frequency or loudness? And you said what?
Loudness.
And what-
No, that's not right.
Then change your
I'm
mind.
better at
Yes,
frequency.
you're much better. Most people are much better at frequency than they are at loudness, because when you try to match loudness, various frequencies are various energies, so it's hard to do that. And of course, the audio engineers and the people who design equipment and records and things have examined those frequencies and how the human ear responds, and they've done this very, very accurately. They know almost exactly what you can hear and what you can't. Now, in your everyday life, you have examples of both loudness and frequency change, and probably the best way of putting those all together is in music, because you have loudness and
Well,
softness
yeah.
and things in music too, don't you? Well, that's why I rigged up this oscilloscope, because I'm going to put on a record, and you can see examples of what we've been investigating here, both loudness and frequency change. And when you look at the scope, what are you going to be looking for now?
Well,
What
the
happens
frequency.
when, okay, now you remember in the beginning when I had the one line, then I gradually got more and more and more and more bumps? What was that? What was I changing?
Well, when the sound went very high,
Yes.
there are a lot of them. They're very close together.
High pitch means a lot of little lines close together. Low pitch means very few lines.
Yes, just a
So it
little
varies
bit.
this way. Now how about in volume? If it's a loud sound, it's going to be high this way. And if it's going to be a soft sound, it's going to be down this way.
Oh, I see. So this is loudness.
Loudness, and this is
soft.
and this is frequency.
Oh,
So
all
let's
right.
look at the scope now and see if you can see both examples.
All right.